Dawn Davis. Been coming here to that church of Mercy's Cross and since March of 2006, shortly after we bought our house here in Sherwood. As far as when I knew things went bad or when things went wrong, probably shortly after we adopted our boys. We never really talked about it. We never fought. Nothing was ever said. Everybody thought we had a great marriage. Had no idea that I didn't have a great marriage until he said that he was miserable. So it was kind of a shock. You know, I knew marriage was always an uphill battle. I knew you're always going to have to. It's a job. You've got to work at it. And so to me, to work at it seemed natural. To him, it didn't seem natural. I put eternal faith, unquestioning, everything, not my husband faith, in him instead of in God, which was my downfall. When he told me it was over, it was a Sunday afternoon. By that Thursday, we were at the divorce attorney. He said he didn't want to do counseling. He said it wouldn't help, it wouldn't make a difference. He didn't want to talk to anyone. He didn't want to talk to me. He was done. It was over. And so we got divorced.
My name is Russell Martin.
My name is Cindy Martin. I spend a lot of my time devoted to Facebook. A whole lot of time. I found an old guy friend that I hadn't talked to in 6 years, and
that didn't go over too well.
We just kind of started talking, you know, on Facebook, normal thing. Ended up swapping phone numbers, you know, texting, talking on the phone. But I realized in the meantime, I didn't realize that I was putting so much effort towards talking to him and trying to fix his problems and not taking care of my family like I should be. That's as far as it went though, just the text and phone calls. I didn't think it was no biggie.
That's where all my insecurities come from, that she was having such a problem with.
So I decided one day that I really didn't know if the grass was greener on the other side, and I was like, well, I think I need some time to think. And
she actually told me that she thought the grass may be greener on the other side, and I told her if it was, I wanted to go with her and see it. That's when she told me she was thinking about leaving me.
My name is Billy Grady. I've been coming to that church for about a year now.
And my name is Nicole Grady, and I've been coming here for about a year as well.
I struggle with alcohol and drugs and, you know, sexual addiction.
It took God bringing me all the way down to figure out that I had the same problems that he had. I was just covering it up better. When we was apart at first, I was partying every night and trying to find a reason for the kids to stay with Billy. I was messing my life up. I mean, it was work and party, and that was all I had time for. I didn't have time for anything else.
All the stuff, you know, that she was doing and stuff is the stuff that I myself brought into this marriage and around my kids and all this things like that. And you know, while she was doing her stuff, I was pretty much fed up with. I wanted it to work, but I was just to the point. I was like, man, I'm not doing this no more.
He said he didn't want to do counseling. He said it wouldn't help, it wouldn't make a difference. He didn't want to talk to anyone. He didn't want to talk to me. He was done. It was over. And so we got divorced. Once I realized in his head he was done, there was no reason for me to contest it. There's no reason for me to fight it. It hurt. I spent a lot of time texting Stacy with daily updates on you're not going to believe what happened now, because it happened really fast. I spent a lot of time in prayer. You know, God, what am I going to do now? I'm a single mom. I've got 2 kids with special needs, 2 kids. God, what are you trying to tell me? God, how are we going to get through this together? You know, screaming, yelling internally, because I never let the boys see that I was upset, because they take all of that on. What I realized is towards the last few months of my marriage that God was talking really loud in my ear. Get more involved in church, do things, pray more, spend time with prayer with your children, do a lot of the stuff that I was looking to my husband to do as a spiritual leader of the house, and he wasn't doing. So the kids weren't getting that. So when I heard the series and it was, what would you do if you couldn't fail? I thought, you know, I probably would step up into leadership. And I talked to Stacy about it, and I really kind of opened up to her. And I said, this may not be a good time to take on a new challenge. It may not be a time for me to take on more responsibility. And she goes, well, what would you do if you couldn't fail? Dang it. Okay, let's do it, you know, and I just jumped forward and jumped into it. I think if I hadn't done as God was screaming in my ear, I think if I hadn't started getting more involved, getting my kids involved, and really taken that step, I probably would be a basket case. And the Empower group is coming along. I feel my growth. I feel that just spending that extra bit of time doing that study is making me closer to God. It's making any of the problems, any of the disillusionment that I had with my marriage seem less critical to my daily functioning of life, because God is more critical.
So I decided one day that I really didn't know if the grass was greener on the other side, and I was like, well, I think I need some time to think. And
She actually told me that she thought the grass may be greener on the other side, and I told her if it was, I wanted to go with her and see it. That's when she told me she was thinking about leaving me.
I guess we tried to make the best of it, you know. I said, well, I'll give it a try. So we came to church that Sunday after I told him I was thinking about leaving, and we have a 4-year-old little girl, and we came to church, sat on the very back, and we hadn't been here probably in almost a year, and I felt like that Sunday that Scott was, when he was talking, that he was talking directly to me. That message was for nobody else in church but for me. So of course I cried all the way through.
In the meantime of all this, when she told me she was leaving, I was kind of thinking, you know, what do I do? I can't stop her. I can't make her change her mind. I stopped and thought about it, and I prayed about it, and I talked to God a little bit, and he told me to seek the church that we had started coming back to.
I was like, I'm not going. We don't have a problem. I pretty well made my mind up. I was like, we don't need counseling. That's silly to me. So he said, well, let's just go out to eat and let's just go talk to somebody. Well, my favorite thing to do is go out to eat. So of course I said, okay. So we go out to, well, what I thought was going out to eat. We pull in the church parking lot, and I was like, really, you did not just do this to me. So of course I was being the person that I am, got out, walked in, met Brother Mark, and we sat down, and he said, well, whose idea was this? I said, it sure wasn't mine. I don't even know why we're here. So we continued, told him the story. You know, he's like, Cindy, you've got to quit talking to this guy friend. I mean, every week we came back, he's like, Cindy, have you quit talking to him? He's like, you have to be, I remember the one words that he said, God hates divorce, and God first, and everything else will follow. And he said, just put God first, just trust me. So he navigated all kinds of stuff to us. My favorite one, I guess, probably was, you have to be a one-man woman and a one-woman man. You can't have anybody else. You don't need anybody of the opposite sex, you know, in your relationships whatsoever. During the process, we learned a whole lot about God. We learned a whole lot about each other. And it wasn't anything that he said. Everything that he said, it was in black and white. It was in the Bible. I mean, he just told us, you know, in a way that it really changed us.
It was one Sunday service, Pastor Scott was preaching and stuff, and he was talking a lot about marriages and things, and man, I don't know, we both was like cracking up and laughing and everything, dude. It was, I mean, we was having a good time, and next thing I know, she reaching over, holding my hand, and I'm like, what is she doing, man? You know what I mean?
She told me when she was talking about leaving me, she told me she was thinking about leaving me. She said, we're just too much opposite. We don't have nothing in common. We're just the exact opposite. And during our sessions with Brother Mark, he told us, you marry your exact opposite. And that was kind of cool. You know, we realized right then maybe we didn't make a mistake.
That threw my theory to the water. You marry your opposites. My strong points are his weak points. His weak points are my strong points. So he showed us a little thing, put your two hands together, that's each of you. You come together. God doesn't make mistakes when he puts you together. Like 2 Sundays after we started coming back to church, that's when they had the call that came and spoke. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I mean, we're here at the right time. You know, this is our calling. I mean, maybe we should be foster parents. So we went to the foster parent meeting, and we did all that. Well, we realized since we live in Lonoke County that we couldn't adopt out of Pulaski County. We had to go through Lonoke County. And so we just prayed about it, you know, and I told Stacy, I said, she's like, this is so awesome of y'all. And I said, it's in God's plan. If he wants us to have a baby, that's what he'll grant us with. If he wants us to be foster parents, then that's what we'll do. So we prayed and prayed about it. 2 weeks after, well, the weekend of Thanksgiving, I found out that I was pregnant. So we're currently expecting our second baby.
Like I said, I was wanting to get drunk and take pills and sleep my entire, literally, I would sleep all day, I'd sleep all night. When I wasn't sleeping, I was angry and nobody wanted to be around me. I put everybody out of my house. I told Billy, I don't want you.
Oh, I went and moved into an apartment, and while she was going through that, I was getting like traumatized and getting hit with a whole bunch of different things, you know, that I'm like, hey, I don't know what's going on here. And as going through step study at the same time and trying to stay sober through all this stuff was kicking my butt. It was one Sunday service, Pastor Scott was preaching and stuff, and he was talking a lot about marriages and things, and man, I don't know, we both was like cracking up and laughing and everything, dude. It was, I mean, we was having a good time, and next thing I know, she reaching over, holding my hand, and I'm like, what is she doing?
I came here that Sunday and I heard Scott's preaching, and I was just like, something just clicked, like, you're being really selfish. You have 3 kids and a husband that you've been with for 7 years. You've got to make this work. If not for you, for your kids. And I mean, I was just, you know, it was like, but it wasn't just like that, it was like I just felt happy again. And he moved back in, and right the next week. Yeah, moved right back in.
I spent one night over there and I never went back to my apartment.
So it was like that for us. So I've come to realize that our marriage is going to be we're going to have to fight for ours more than maybe another couple would have to, because we are fighting to break what our mom and our dad has shown us a marriage is, which isn't a godly marriage.
Yeah, so I learned that, you know, both of us got certain strengths. She's going to be better at something than I am, and I'm going to be better at something than she is. And at first, like, our marriage was like, you know, we was living like that, but, you know, so now we putting it like this.
I see us having a great big wedding on our 10-year anniversary. Woohoo! He is so getting our vows renewed when we're married 10 years, because dang it, I want a wedding dress when I'm not 9 months pregnant. So that is where I see myself at our 10-year anniversary.
What's the date?
It's March 2nd, 2013.